everybody, it's Ann Kaplan from Mommy, your mama resource from conception to college. Wherever you are in your parenting journey, we are here for you. And today I am really excited about the theme in the group this week. It is sleep training, a topic that I don't know if you guys have heard me say this recently, but I've been talking about a lot of topics recently that I was kind of afraid to talk about for a long time because I know that they're contentious, but I've decided to cut that out and just share with you guys my real true beliefs and opinions on some of these topics, and sleep training is definitely one of them. So let's talk about sleep training. And I really encourage you to read the blog post that I did on Sunday about sleep training also to kind of get a bigger picture of what we're talking about here. But today's Tuesday. Tuesday is my myth busting day. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about the mindset and maybe misconceptions that we have about sleep training, because I know so many moms, and it doesn't matter if your kid is 4 months old or 4 years old, sleep is a challenge for parents, and we are so sleep deprived. And I know so many parents out there who are just so tired and exhausted and desperate for their kids to sleep through the night, but they're also so terrified that they're going to be doing something super mean and tortuous to their child by making them cry or forcing them to sleep and all of those things. So I really want to kind of debunk some of that stuff so that you can give yourself permission to know that it is possible to influence change in your kid's sleep pattern without being a human monster. I promise. So the first thing I want to bust when it comes to this worrisome mindset that we often have is that sleep training is the same as cry it out. That is not true. Cry it out, letting your kid cry until they fall asleep with no comfort or anything like that, is also called complete extinction crying. That is one type of sleep training. It's a type of sleep training that very few people advocate that you use. So, including me, I do not agree with cry it out. But I think the problem is that we, especially when we're using attachment parenting with our newborns and babies and things like that, we have this mindset that like to try to influence change or put up structures or boundaries or anything like that around sleep with our kids is the same as abandoning them and letting them cry until they fall asleep on their own and doing this cry it out method, which you all have heard so much horrible stuff about. So I really want to tell you that that's not the case. There are other methods of sleep training that are not cry it out that I would really recommend that you consider if you are trying to get your kids to sleep through the night or promote them sleeping longer and like getting yourself some much needed sleep. And the methods that I usually advocate for my clients to use are much kinder and involve a lot more comforting. Even though, which brings me to my second myth, it is probably going to be tricky and challenging, and your child will probably resist when you try to do sleep training. It's not necessarily going to be tricky and challenging for you. That's your choice about how you think about it, but it probably will be tricky and challenging for your child. And so that's the second myth I want to bust for you. Crying does not mean that you're a monster. If your child is crying because they're going through something and they're learning a new experience and they're growing and going to a new level of their development, that's just a human being. If your child is crying because there's actually something wrong, they're being harmed, they're being tortured, their needs aren't being met, that's a different kind of crying. But the crying that we all do, including adults, whether it's actual crying or other forms of resistance that we all do, no matter if we're a newborn baby or a grown adult, around learning a new skill, pushing ourselves to the next place, learning something new, walking our path, all of those things, however you want to say that, that's normal. And our jobs as parents is not to rescue our children from sad times or challenging circumstances. It's not to create an environment in which they never cry. It is to walk alongside them as our children are walking their path. And sleep is one of those things. It's another challenge or developmental stage that our kids are going through, and we can be there with them every step of the way, comforting them, believing in them, making sure they know they have unconditional love, but not rescuing them from the fact that they actually need to go through this change. So obviously I'm talking about things on a conceptual level here, and I also want to make it very clear that I'm not talking about a brand new newborn baby, because brand new newborn babies cry when they have needs. And that's pretty much it. So you don't get to sleep train your newborn. I will never advocate that. But once your kid is older, like 4 months at the very earliest, probably more like 6 months or older, and you're ready to start responding to the developmental signs that they're showing you that they're ready and capable to learn a new skill, you can totally sleep train in a compassionate and loving way, but that doesn't mean that your child is never going to cry. That's an unrealistic goal for you to set for yourself as a mother, period, whether we're talking about sleep or any other thing. And the last myth that I want to bust for you guys when it comes to sleep training is that you can't co-sleep if you're sleep training. You can sleep train and continue to co-sleep with your child if that's what you want to do. So know that you have many, many options when it comes to sleep training, and many, many options on setting boundaries and developing a relationship with your kid around sleep that is what you want it to be. And never discount or think that you don't have the option to co-sleep just because you want to sleep through the night. You can co-sleep and your kid can sleep through the night and you can sleep through the night. All three of those things are possible simultaneously. And you can sleep train and sleep through the night, and your baby can sleep through the night not being in the same room with you. And I know that I keep saying baby, but I want to make sure that you guys understand this is applicable to toddlers, school-age kids, whatever. Once they're out of the newborn stage and you know that they're developmentally and cognitively ready to learn a new skill, like sleeping through the night, it doesn't matter the age, all of these principles are the same. So I hope that you'll keep tuning in all week long about sleep training. It's a big deal. It's really challenging. And what I know first and foremost is that when mommy is completely sleep deprived and a momby, as we say, nothing else in the family works. And so when we're weighing these decisions about whether or not to sleep train, and is it mean or is it right or is it wrong for our kids, we also need to understand that sleep training is something that's a gift to your child because they will be getting more sleep, but it's also a gift to your child because they will be also getting a well-rested mother, and that's a big deal. It means a lot. So think about all of these myths. Recognize that it's possible for you to sleep train your baby without being a torturing, horrible monster woman. You're a good person still if you want to sleep train your baby, and that you can do it in a compassionate and loving way, and that you can create whatever kind of sleep circumstance and relationship and boundaries that you want in your family. Have an amazing day, you guys. I really hope you keep tuning in all week long because I'm going to be talking about sleep training again and again and again this week. It's a big deal. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.